Good morning, friends. Let us continue with our lecture on magnetic effects of electric current. I hope you liked yesterday's lecture, the previous lecture in which we discussed the relationship between electricity and magnetism, which came through an accidental discovery. Then we have seen the magnetic field around a straight conductor, around a circular loop, and the last thing we saw was magnetic field due to a current in a solenoid. So again, what is a solenoid? A solenoid is a coil of many circular turns. You can see the number of turns here. It is indicated by the letter N. These are the number of turns. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4. Real objects don't have such less turns. The turns are many, but there are many circular turns of insulated copper wire. Copper wire it is insulated, means has a coating on the top. There is a coating. So when you make a coil of circular turns of an insulated copper wire in the shape of a cylinder, it is called a solenoid. And yesterday we saw the magnetic field of a solenoid is similar to that of a bar magnet. This is almost equal to a bar magnet. But I explained to you what are the benefits of using a solenoid instead of a bar magnet. The first thing was it is an electromagnet. Means till the electricity is passing, it acts like a magnet. When you switch the current off, it stops acting as a magnet. Secondly, by increasing the current I, the magnetic field becomes stronger. By increasing the number of turns N, the magnetic field becomes stronger. And if you place the iron core inside the solenoid, it makes the field stronger. If you place a soft iron core inside the solenoid, it makes the field stronger. Means you can make the field as strong as you want. Yes, by increasing the current or by increasing the number of turns or by placing a soft iron core in the core of the solenoid. So that is the difference from a permanent magnet. So now we have learned the use of the current carrying conductors, right? And what are the use of the electromagnets? We'll see. Yesterday I talked about use of electromagnets. The first is the electric bell that we have right now at many places in the homes. Now they have gone to musical chimes, but old electric bells were working on the principle of what? The principle of an electromagnet. So let us see how this electric bell works. This is the diagram shown to you, the whole mechanism. So we have got a battery, connected the wiring to a switch. We have a switch, and then the mechanism is the wire goes, and you can see here in a U shape, the wire is wound. The wire is tied here. This is a coil here. This is the electromagnet, or this is the coil tied on a iron axle. This is the iron axle on which the coil is tied. Then the wire continues, and there is a soft iron strip. It is touching the iron strip. There is a hammer here, but we'll see the wiring. The wiring is touching the iron strip. The wiring continues, and there is a contact screw here. The screw is adjusted in such a way it just touches this strip. So there is a soft iron strip, and this is also the iron strip which is put together. Okay? So this soft iron screw, the wire is coming here, and this is how it touches the circuit. It is not shown here, but it touches the circuit here, and this is the whole circuit. So you can see the wire. Let us trace the wire. The wire goes from this pole to the strip, to the point here, to the screw, contact screw, to the soft iron strip, to the coil, and back to switch to the battery. Now let us see the working. When you put on the switch, When you put on the switch, what happens? You can see the circuit is complete. When you put on the switch, you will find the circuit is complete. And because the circuit is complete, current will flow through these coils. Because the circuit is complete, current will flow through the coil. Now this coil, when current is flowing, will act as a magnet. This electromagnetic coil will act as a magnet. So, this soft iron strip is pulled towards the magnet. The strip is pulled towards the magnet. So, when this strip is pulled towards the magnet, this hammer will hit the gong, making a sound. But something else will also happen. What will happen is when the hammer hits the gong, the strip moves forward and the hammer hits the gong. This contact here, this screw contact is broken. Because the strip moves forward, this contact is broken. Because this contact is broken, the current stops to flow. Because the current stops to flow, this coil stops acting as a magnet. It stops acting as a magnet. So this strip by the spring element comes back to its place. When it comes back to its place, again it touches the screw. Again the circuit is complete, again the current flows, again it acts like a magnet, the strip is pulled forward. Again it hits the gong. The circuit is broken, so this continuous thing gives the electric bell sound. This is not given in the textbook, but this is a very good application of the electromagnet. One more application of the electromagnet is the electromagnetic crane. I have put a picture here to see the crane. You can see how magnetic and non-magnetic materials are separated from the jump. Now this yellow thing you can see is a huge iron piece, and in this blue there is a round copper coil. The copper coil is inside this. A huge round copper coil. Yes, and there are wirings which are shown here. The switch which lies with the panel over here. So when the switch is turned on, current passes through the coil and it becomes a very strong magnet. So all the magnetic material you can see like iron and nickel, they stick to the magnet. Then you can transport to some other place, turn off the switch and it stops acting as a magnet. So this falls down wherever you want to deposit. Now if you want to try it at home, it's a very simple thing. You have to take a very long nail, a thick screw or a long nail. You need a insulated copper wire. So from the battery, take a copper wire and wound it on the nail like a solenoid. Wound it on the nail. Then complete the circuit through a switch. So this is a temporary made switch. You can see the switch is made through a battery. When you press this U-pin to touch the switch, current will pass through the wire and this solenoid will act as a magnet. So because now this nail has become an electromagnet, if you take it near some pins, it will stick to the magnet. So you can try this activity at home, but make sure to use only a 9-watt battery at max. Yes, do not go for direct electric current, just use a 9-watt DC battery and try it out. This is the working of the electromagnetic crane. So we have seen what happens here. The main idea is what? That a current carrying conductor produces a magnetic field. That is the basic idea we have seen here and understood in detail, that a current carrying conductor produces a magnetic field. And the magnetic field will do the same work that a normal magnet does. The only difference, this is an electromagnet. This part became a magnet because the current is flowing through it. When you turn off the switch and the current stops to flow, it no longer acts as a magnet. Now after this interesting phenomena, we go to something else. Now what have we seen? We have seen a current carrying wire produces a magnetic field. We also know like poles repel and unlike poles attract. So what happens when you bring two unlike poles or like poles together? they will either attract each other or they will repel each other. But they will attract or repel because of a attractive force or a repulsive force. When you bring two magnets nearby, there is an attractive force or a repulsive force. Now we have just seen that a current carrying conductor produces a magnetic field. What if we place that current carrying conductor in another external magnetic field, what would happen? So there is a small activity shown here. You can see on a stand, what we have taken? We have taken a battery with a key, and the wire is there in such a way that on the stand we have put a copper wire. This AB is a small wire, or you can bend a copper wire to make a U-shaped wire, and it is made on the stand so it can hang like a swing. On a stand you can hang it like a U shape, like this. Okay, and this wire we connect to a battery through a switch. So when you turn on this switch, the current will pass through this copper wire in the shape of a U, right? This is what a U shape is shown in the copper wire. So whenever you turn on the switch, when you put it on, current will flow through this copper wire and it will have a magnetic field of its own. Now what is done here? A horseshoe magnet is brought. Now we have learned before that when we found out in the previous lecture that the external field is always from north to south. Externally the field is always north to south. So I am pointing the arrows to show the electric field. That's the magnetic field of the horseshoe magnet. So when I place the horseshoe magnet like this over here, the magnetic field is from north to south. Now when I turn on the switch, current is passing through the copper wire here, which generates a magnetic field of its own. So the magnetic field of this permanent magnet and the magnetic field of this electromagnet, the blue is the electromagnet, the red is the permanent magnet, this both magnetic fields will either repel or attract each other and generate a force. So there is a force on a current carrying conductor only when it is placed in a magnetic field. So current carrying conductor when placed in a magnetic field experiences a force. So written here, the field produced by the electromagnet exerts a force on a magnet placed in the vicinity of the conductor. Now we know Newton's third law, that action and reaction. So since the field produced has a force on the magnet must also exert an equal and opposite force on the current carrying conductor. So because this electromagnet has a force on this permanent magnet, the magnet will also have the force on the electromagnet, opposite force. Now which one will move? Which one has got less inertia will move? Now since we hang this U-shaped wire in such a way that it can easily swing, it can move, this wire will experience a force and it will swing. This wire will swing. It will experience a force. So a current carrying conductor when placed in a magnetic field will experience a force. Now such experiments were carried out and let us see what were the observations. So the same experiment, the observation are that suppose we pass the current, this is positive, this is negative. So current is going like this, positive to negative. So current is going one direction and suppose the coil moved, this wire moved inside the magnet. So if you reverse the direction of the current, then the movement of the conductor is reversed. So if the current is now flowing from A to B, it was flowing B to A, it went inside. So when it flows from A to B, this wire should move on the outside. So reversing the direction of the current reverses the direction of the force also. This can also be done by interchanging the poles of the magnet. You can see this is north and this is south, and it is coming inside. So if I make this north and this south, then also it should go outside by interchanging. And the third and very important thing is the magnitude of the force is highest. The force is experienced, but when is the force highest? When the direction of the current is at right angles to the magnetic field. Very, very important. So, suppose this is north and this is south. Magnetic field from north to south. Right? Now, if I place a wire like this, then the force is not maximum. The force will be maximum when the wire is placed at 90 degree to the field. So A to B, say the current is going from A to B, yes, and the magnetic field is north to south. Maximum force is experienced when the magnetic field and the wire are perpendicular to each other, means at 90 degree. So what can we observe here? When the direction of the current is reversed, then the direction of the motion of the wire will change. If you change the polarity of the magnet, even then the direction will change, and the force is maximum when the wire is placed perpendicular to the magnetic field. Now, because placing a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. What can we do with this force? Can we do some work with this force? So if you place the current carrying conductor in a magnetic field, it is getting a force. But can we make the use of this force? Let us see. But before we go to that force, let us remember how to find the direction of motion. So we got Fleming's left hand rule. What is Fleming's left hand rule? This is a left hand. Okay? Now place your thumb, your index finger and the middle finger in such a way that they all are perpendicular to each other. So you have to learn how to place it. You have to place the fingers in such a way that they are 90 degree to each other. So you can put your index finger north to south or south to north. You can put your index finger south to north. Put your finger south to north. Put your middle finger west to east. Okay, place your fingers in such a way, the index finger south to north pointing upwards, the middle finger south to east, and the thumb should point in the upward direction. The thumb should point in the upward direction. So keep your fingers on the table, flat on the table. Keep your fingers flat on the table. The middle finger going from south to north. The middle finger going from south to north, yes, the index finger, the middle finger from west to east, and the thumb in the upward direction. So, what we can see, this finger is both perpendicular to each other. The force is maximum. Okay, now what is the rule? This index finger is for the magnetic field. So, I should make, this is south, but this is north, and this is south. So the magnetic field is kept in your index finger, points in the direction of the index finger. The middle finger will show the direction of the current. This is the direction of the magnetic field. I'll write near magnetic field. This is I current. So when your current is passing and the magnetic field is in this direction, the wire will move in the motion of in the direction of the thumb, that is upward. So when the magnetic field is like this and the current is moving in this direction, the force is out of the screen towards you, towards your side. So this is the Fleming's left hand rule, just to understand the motion. And from that now we see it is given the textbook Magnetism in Medicine. An electric current produces a magnetic field, that we have seen. Now we have learned in the nervous system that there are electric impulses in our body which carry information from the brain and other parts of the body. So two main organs in the body are the heart and the brain. Heart and the brain. So when there is a brain injury, you want to study the brain, we do a magnetic resonance imaging, MRI. Why can we do that? Because the brain carries electrical impulses, and wherever electricity is in motion, it produces a magnetic field. So the electric activity in our brain can be studied externally by a magnetic resonance imaging. So the magnetic field produced creates a force on the external magnet, and that is how that small electric signals are first amplified. Our brain creates very less electrical impulses, but they are magnified and their effect is studied by an MRI machine. Even the ECG of the heart is based on the electric impulses. This is just to explain you how magnetism is used in medicine. This is just for information's sake. Now we'll go to the electric motor. Like I told you, a current carrying conductor, when placed in a magnetic field, experiences a force. What we can do with the force? What is the electric motor? First of all, an electric motor is a rotating device. Rotating means in the fans, mixers, yes, wherever things are rotating. But how does it electric motor works? It converts electrical energy into mechanical energy, with electricity into movement. So the juicers, the grinders, the mixers at home, the fans, CD players, washing machine, yes, where there is a rotational motion, even now electric cars, all this use an electric motor. So electric motor is specially designed to convert electrical energy to mechanical energy. We have even seen this sugarcane machines which remove the sugarcane juice. They all are electric motors. Now what is the principle of the electric motor? The principle is very easy. When a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. So we have to now make use of this force. So let us study the electric motor. Now look at the construction of the electric motor. First is the construction. This is a very simple schematic diagram. This is not the actual motor, but it can show you how the motor actually works. This is a very simple diagram of the electric motor. So what you can see here, first of all we have a rectangular coil ABCD. We have only taken one rotation, but we know it is never one rotation. There are many coils wound around an axle. This is the axle, the rod. The rod is not actually so small, the rod is very big. This is called the axle. It is on which the whole thing rotates. If you want to know what an axle is, you can see the wheel of your bicycle. Yes? If you see the wheel of your bicycle, in the center there is one rod. On which side, on two sides support is put. This rod is called the axle. Yes, where the spokes are connected. So this axle rotates, making the wheel to rotate. So we have got an axle. So just now we first see the rectangular coil ABCD. It is made up of an insulated copper wire. The word insulated is very important. If you do not insulate it, then there will be a short circuit among the coils. So it should be insulated means with the insulated cover coating. So we have got a coil ABCD. In the diagram only one is shown. Okay. Now this coil is placed between two poles of a magnetic field. So you can see we need an external magnet. This is the north and this is the south of the magnet. So this coil ABCD is placed between a magnet. It is placed in such a way that the arm AB and CD are perpendicular. You can see AB and CD are perpendicular, while the arms BC and AD are parallel. BC and AD are parallel, and AB and CD are perpendicular. Okay. Now the ends of this coil are connected to two halves P and Q, a split ring. You can see this P and Q. You can see this gap in between. You can see the ring is not connected. There is a gap in between. You can see this gap here. There is a half ring P and a half ring Q. They are called split rings. They are split rings. So how it is connected? The AB is connected to this ring P through a brush X. X is the brush. So that is why we put a brush, you will see. So the inner side of this house are insulated and attached to the axle. So these two split rings are put on an axle and the coils are connected to these rings by brushes X and Y. Brushes X and Y. Now brushes are something, it is like hairy brushes. This brush X touches this split ring P. Yes, the wire is coming. At the end of the wire there is a brush. Why the brushes is put? The brush is put because the hair will touch the split ring, the hair will touch, but there is no permanent contact. And we will see why there is no permanent contact. So have you understood the construction? A rectangular coil ABCD is placed in a permanent magnet. The coil is attached to split rings P and Q with the help of the brushes X and Y. X and Y are brushes, P and Q are the split rings connected to the coil ABCD placed in the magnet. This is the construction. Now from the construction we move to the work. Now we'll see the working of the motor. So how is the motor working? And if you can hear the noise in the background, there is a machine cutting the tiles here that is also working on the principle of the electric motor. So we have got, when we press this switch, this is the positive side, current is flowing from the brush X to the split ring P, moving from A to B to C to D to Y and then to Q first, Q the split ring and then to Y. Now you can see this coil ABCD is attached to P and Q. Is attached to the split ring P and Q, while these wires are attached by brushes. So X and Y are the brushes. X and Y will stay in their own place. They will not move. The brushes X and Y will not move. They are in their own place connected to the external source. But now the current is moving from A to B and the magnetic field is from north to south. So this is the direction of the magnetic field. This is the direction of the current. So AB will move downwards. AB will be pushed downwards while CD will be pushed upwards. So the coil has started to rotate. The position was this. Now the position has become this. The coil has started to rotate. When the coil is rotating, this rings P and Q will move with the coil. So the split rings are moving with the coil. At hard rotation, okay, there will be a gap in between. So first the split rings were like this. Because with the movement of the coil, the split rings have become like this. So there is a small gap here in X here, but we know when the coil starts to move, because of inertia, it will complete the rotation. Now P and Q. P was touching the brush X and Q was touching Y. But after half the rotation, what happens? After half the rotation, now this Q has moved here and P has moved here. So Q is now touching X and P is touching Y. This happens at half the rotation. Okay? Now when this happens, the current in the coil gets reversed. Why it is reversed now? You can see this Q is come here. So the coil has also changed position. Now A is gone here, B has reached here, C has reached here and D has reached here, and the current is now reversed. How the current is reversed? Now the current is not going from C to D, but it is going from D to C. So after half rotation, as the current passing from X to Q, from D to C, so you can see from Q to X, X to Q, Q to C, to D, D to C, C to B, B to A to P and P to Y. So the current direction has reversed. So what happens when the correct direction is reversed? The direction of the magnetic field has remained the same. The direction of the magnetic field is still north to south, but now the current is going from D to C. So now CD moves downwards and AB here will move upwards. AB will move upwards. So the coil first rotated halfway, then it is rotating again the halfway, and this will continue giving a full circular motion to the coil. Okay, now you can see the electric motor, the split rings acts as a commutator. This half ring, split ring and these brushes, they act as a commutator. What does the commutator do? It reverses the direction of the current at half cycle. Okay, the device that reverses the direction of flow of current through a circuit is called a commutator. So commutator will change the direction of the current at every half rotation. So this is the entire working of the electric motor. So the coil, first current passes through the coil, the two ends of the coil A, B and C D experience a force, they move. Along with them the split rings move. When the split ring moves, then the Q will now touch X and P will touch Y. The direction of the current is reversed, so the coil will continue. Again it will change the axle, again the direction of the current is reversed and the current will keep on passing and the coil will keep on moving. This is the principle and working of the electric motor. Now you will see only AB and CD experience a force because they are perpendicular to the magnetic field. BC and AD are parallel. Because BC and AD are parallel to the magnetic field, this BC and AD are parallel, they will not experience a force. And now we talk about commercial motors. This was a simple motor, but a commercial motor, we place an electromagnet and not a permanent magnet. The number of turns of a conducting wire in a current carrying coil, large number of turns. Means this was only shown ABCD, one coil, but there are lots of turns in that coil. And a soft iron core is wound in the coil to make the field stronger, like I told. This is called the armature. This increases the power of the motor. So the electric motor is working on which principle? A current carrying conductor, when placed in a magnetic field, experiences a force. And when properly arranged, the force goes in such a way that the coil turns round and round and round, giving the rotational motion. Now the power of the motor depends upon how much current you pass, the number of turns and the soft iron core. So there are very strong motors which can do strong work. Like I told you, there are rotors to remove the juice of sugarcane. To remove the juice of the sugarcane, we really need a lot of hard work, means generating a larger force. Okay, so all the electric fans are there. You have seen when you turn the regulator of the fan, the speed of the fan increases, it throws more air. So what are you doing when you are using the regulator? You are actually increasing the current. You are decreasing the resistance, increasing the current. When you increase the current, then the force becomes stronger, the motor moves more faster. So this is the working of the electric motor. Again, on which principle? A current carrying conductor, when placed in a magnetic field, experiences a force. And why that happens? Because a current carrying conductor generates a magnetic field. So this is the relationship between electricity and magnetism, and remember, these two go hand in hand. Wherever there is electricity, there will always be a magnetic field attached to it. So I'm going to end the chapter here, end the lecture here. Kindly revise this lecture as much as you can and try to understand in detail. Sometimes this is asked as a 5-mark question. The electric motor, the definition, the principle, the construction, the working and the uses, along with the diagram, carry 5 marks. So revise it thoroughly. I am going to end the lecture here. Thank you.